Warren Central out of Indiana and Trinity Catholic from Kentucky. They will get things started tonight. Two powerhouses that feature two prominent players. Warren Central has one of the best wide receivers in the country, still undecided in David Bell. On the flip side, Stephen Herron. He's headed to Stanford. He is a dynamite defensive end. We'll see them and so much more coming up in a matter of moments.
There's no secret to success in football and in life. If you want to be great, it's about making a choice to never stop, to never settle. You want to shine on the biggest stage? You have to put the work in through sacrifice, hard work, and determination. You've grinded all winter through the heat of the summer, all for this moment. When those lights come on and you step out onto that field, your city on your chest, your fans in the stands. This is your time. This is your moment. Be fearless. Be relentless. Be great.
And welcome to the 2018 Geico ESPN High School Football Kickoff presented by Buick. The 9th year ESPN has brought you some of the best teams and best players in high school football. 10 games coming your way over the next couple of days, and we get it all started right here in Louisville, Kentucky, where Trinity Catholic hosting Warren Central from Indiana, a border war. And it's just moments away from kickoff. Dave Neal alongside my partner Barrett Jones, 3-time national champion and All-American for the Crimson Tide. And Barrett, I got just watching the crowd, watching these players come in. It's got to take you back in time a little bit.
It absolutely does, Dave. There's great energy and excitement here. Every football player I've ever talked to, they all want one more chance to put the pads on. And most of them, I think, would use that opportunity to put the pads on to play one more night of high school football. It never gets better than this. A great atmosphere tonight. And football's back, Dave.
Well, Warren Central comes in here highly rated around the country, and they feature one of the best wide receivers in the country. He's uncommitted right now, but David Bell has the potential to be a superstar.
He absolutely does. David Bell's a guy who has all the tools. You can run him deep, run him short, but he's most dangerous when he has the football in his hands. This guy is an absolute dynamite athlete, plays basketball. We'll see that a little bit later, but really sees the open field well, has great vision, a tough guy to bring down. They're going to look to get the ball in his hands early and often tonight.
Well, Trinity Catholic is a club that is hoping that they can come away with a victory. They had their 30-game win streak snapped last weekend. And if you're going to win state championships, which they've done back-to-back years, you got to have great players. Stephen Herron is one of those.
Yeah, Stephen Herron, another guy, good two-way player, really uses his hands well in the run game. I love the way this guy strikes the opponent. Really also a terror and pass pro. Does a nice job of getting penetration in the backfield. Needs to work on his pass game. Has a tough matchup tonight against a guy going to Iowa, Justin Britt. Excited to see that matchup. It's definitely one to keep an eye on.
Well, let's take a look at who's next in tonight's game, brought to you by McDonald's. You see the particulars for Bell and Herron, who are two of the premier players in the country. You see where they rank respectively for their positions. 33 for Bell in terms of wide receivers. Herron's the 19th ranked defensive end in the country. He's heading to Stanford. Meanwhile, 5 schools all out of the Big Ten looking and hoping that they can corral the services of David Bell next year. So these are two teams that are certainly powerhouse schools. And you look at Coach Bob Beatty for Trinity. He has done nothing but win ball games. How about this? He's been here 19 years, won 13 state titles, including back-to-back championships. They had their 30-game win streak snapped just last weekend. Taking on a team from Indiana, Warren Central. Many publications have them ranked in the top 25 nationally. They haven't won a state championship since 2013, but they feel like this could be their year. Trinity wins the toss, they defer, so the Warriors will get the football first. It's a short kick, scooped up at the 20-yard line by Shanklin, and he is wrapped up and dropped at the 23-yard line. Well, the quarterback for Warren Central, you might recognize the last name, George. Jaden George, a 6'3" senior, the son of longtime NFL quarterback Jeff George, will start under center for the Warriors, and certainly he's got a solid set of tools.
He absolutely does. This offense for Warren Central, extremely explosive. We talked about David Bell in the open. Also keep an eye on Romir Elliott. the running back. He's listed at 5'9", but I'll be honest, I saw him in warm-ups. I don't think he's much more than 5'5". Extremely small and shifty guy, but a tough guy to bring down. Had an awesome game last week and looking to build on that.
George last week, 12 of 24, 168 yards and a touchdown.
Hey, appreciate it.
Going up top, first play of the game, going deep, looking for Bell, and that one is incomplete into double coverage.
Well, it's pretty obvious the strategy earlier for Warren Central and for Trinity right there. You see David Bell going over top, has great speed, but what you notice right there, number 19, Jacob Dingle, bracket coverage on him. I expect to see a safety over top of this guy all night. You got to put two guys on David Bell because he can change the game in one snap, as you saw right there. He really had a step on Jacob Dingle, unfortunately a little bit overthrown.
Bell last week, 6 catches, 73 yards in the opener. Here goes Romeo Elliott, and he's off the right side. Will only get a couple of yards on the play. Elliott coming off a game where he rushed for 135 yards, 3 touchdowns. Those touchdown runs, 3 yards, 45 yards, and again, 3 yards.
Yeah, one thing I'm noticing earlier, I see Stephen Herron lined up on the right side against the right tackle. Would not surprise me if they try to utilize that matchup. I mentioned Justin Britt, the left tackle, an Iowa commit, a really good player. Looks like they're trying to get Herron matched up on the opposite side as he.
So third down and relatively long coming up for the Warriors. Pressure comes. George avoids that tackle, gets the pass away, and it is caught for a first down out over the 35-yard line to Marcus Brown with the 11-yard reception.
Yeah, great job right there by George getting out of the pocket. You saw the guy I just talked about, Justin Britt, got absolutely trucked by number 46, Tyler Roberson. George does a nice job rolling out to his left and finding a guy. A really athletic play. And that's what the coaches told us about George. He's a witty kid, smart, makes great plays with his feet. Just athletic enough to find a way to get first downs.
So on first down, Aaron gets free, gets a pop on George, but dumps it underneath to Bell. He tries to split a couple of defenders and into Shamrock territory. They'll spot it at the 33, a 30-yard pickup.
Yeah, you see the game plan here early. You got to get the ball in David Bell's hands. You look at him right here. I told you that's where he's most dangerous. Has great vision, gets upfield, makes a nice cut right there. I expect to see him get the ball a lot underneath and let him make plays with his feet.
Handoff goes to Elliott, and he'll get a yard and a half perhaps and bring up second down. Warren Central went 7-4 last year, but they ended up winning their opener against Center Grove last week and got off to a great start.
Yeah, as you know, Dave, some of these records can be a little misleading sometimes for these national teams because the schedules they play, a lot of these teams go out and play some of the best teams around the country the first few weeks. So sometimes the records may not reflect how good they really are.
There goes Elliott off the left side inside the 25 now down to the 23. That's 8-yard pickup.
I think that's where Warren Central's at their best, running the football with Romeo Elliott, setting up with play action and getting the ball in David Bell's hands underneath. That's what I expect to do tonight, especially with a guy like Stephen Herron rushing the passer. You're not going to be able to sit back there and hold the ball for a long time. That's been the game plan early. Get the ball out of Jaden George's hands quickly.
This offense scored on 3 of their 4 opening possessions last weekend and led 20-0 at halftime. Play clock winding down. George gets the snap off in time. Little play action over the middle, and that one is scooped and dropped in the end zone. Looking for Jordan Hodge, the senior wide receiver.
Yeah, he had Jordan Hodge right here on a little skinny post. Got just inside the safety. Unfortunately, Jaden George didn't make the throw. Had his man. Maybe could have come up with that one, but I think you got to make a better throw there, put it on his numbers, and that's a touchdown.
Last year, George threw for over 1,500 yards, 15 touchdowns, completed 56% of his passes. Says he is much more comfortable with his offense than he was a year ago when he was a first-year starter. Inside handoff goes to Elliott on second down, and that'll be a 2-yard gain, and it's third down again.
Another big third down here. Justin Brett got beat badly on the left tackle on the last third down against Stephen Herron. Let's keep an eye on this matchup on the left tackle. Third down is going to be a very crucial time for these guys to be able to get protection. You see right here, they might bring a tight end or possibly an H over to possibly get a chip on Stephen Herron because he's such a good pass rusher.
So 3rd down and 8. Can they convert again on this drive that started back at their 23-yard line? Good clean snap for George. Little shoulder fake. Lofts it up, looking for Bell. There are no flags. And it'll be 4th down. Jason Ramirez, the kicker, will come onto the field.
Yeah, the kicking game's always a little bit of an adventure in high school. We talked to these coaches, and they both felt pretty good about their kickers. So we'll see if he can connect on this 39-yard attempt. Officially spotted at the 28, so a 38-yarder.
It'll be off to the right. No good. So Trinity Catholic comes up with a defensive stand, and we are scoreless. Back to Louisville, Kentucky right after this.
Here's your Buick, sir. Actually, that's my Buick.
The Geico ESPN High School Football Kickoff, presented by Buick, is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And 7 expectation-shattering models. Another reason to experience the new Buick.
Well, a good drive by Warren Central goes for naught. They miss a 38-yard field goal.
Yeah, here's a clip of that missed field goal. You see Stephen Herron right there coming right up the A-gap untouched. I don't know how he didn't block that, but certainly had an effect on the kicker. He's showing up early, Stephen Herron.
So the Shamrocks will get it at the 20. First pass from Jutz. That one goes to Ryan Miller, the junior, who had a nice game. Lost a couple of yards on that one, but last week had 3 receptions for 46 yards, including a 35-yard touchdown reception.
Now, Trinity is a very unique team offensively. You see most high school teams come out maybe 1 or 2 formations. Coach Jason West told me you might see these guys run 30 to 35 different formations tonight.
The junior Jutz won the job in the offseason, 18 of 28 last week. Straight handoff off the right side. Jeremiah Smith out close to the 30-yard line. They'll spot it at the 29. So just shy of the line to gain. 18 carries, 70 yards, and a touchdown last week.
A really nice 1-2 punch, I think. Jeremiah Smith and Luke McGuire for the Shamrocks.
Going up tempo on 3rd and 1, and Smith will have the first down and a 5-yard pickup. And you can see right away the senior runs with his pads down with an attitude. Yeah, Coach Beatty warned us we'd see some of those tonight. They really change up everything they do, from formations to tempo. They want to always keep the defense off guard. Coach Jason West, the coach of Warren Central, expressed some concern in the pregame. He said, I just hope we can get lined up right. They change pace and formation so much. If we get lined up right, we'll have success. Ryan Miller in motion across the formation. Jutz trying to dump it off to his tight end, loose football. Rakulia couldn't hold on to it. Jutz only 7 pass attempts last year, 4 of 7. That's because Nick Bond was their quarterback, who's now at Garden City. He set a national record by completing 79.9% of his passes. So there's a reason why Jutz didn't get a whole lot of attempts.
Yeah, no doubt. Big high schools like this, you notice a lot of juniors and seniors on the roster because there's so many talented players in front of you. You might not get an opportunity to play till the end of your career.
They'll get it off to Jeremiah. Smith breaks a tackle. It's a foot race. He's to the 30. Down the far sidelines and give the Shamrocks 6 as he goes 66 yards.
Yeah, 2 different missed tackles right there by Warren Central. A great job by Jeremiah Smith, keeping low, staying under his pads, breaking a few tackles, and then he has the speed to break away at the end. a great play early by Trinity to take control of this football game.
Well, you could tell early on that he has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder the way he carried the football the first few times. That time broke a couple of tackles, 66 yards. Sebastian Mata with the kick. And it is a 7-0 Shamrock lead over Warren Central. This is just some fantastic balance, some fantastic speed, and it gets you 6.
% of women wear the wrong size.
And welcome back to the 2018 Geico ESPN High School Football Kickoff as part of Summer of Next, presented by Geico. Good look at Marshall Stadium, home to the Trinity Catholic Shamrocks, who now lead at 7-0 after the 66-yard reception. You look at Trinity Catholic, they are a power. 25 state championships, which is a state record. A small school of 1,200 students, but nearly 100 come out for football every year. And you see they've had some notable alumni. Jeff Brom, Brian Brom, their brother Greg, also all-state wide receiver. Ray Spalding with the Dallas Mavericks. These guys have won 13 national championships under Bob Beatty and are two-time defending state champs. Warren Central trying to return this kick out to the 24-yard line. Goes Hunter Shanklin. Been a big week for Coach Beatty. Earlier this week was inducted into the Kentucky Sports Hall of Fame. Had to go out to the big dinner on Wednesday night. Legendary horse trainer Bob Backford among that group that was inducted. Just a tremendous honor for this guy who has just done wonders with this program. They were already a solid program, but he certainly has taken them to a whole nother level.
Yeah, the discipline you see from these guys on film is evident from the first time you turn on the tape. These guys are extremely disciplined, offense, defensively, and special teams. You can tell Coach Beatty runs a great program.
Stumble through the hole that was there for Elliott.
Cool. Romir Elliott is going to want that one back right there. He had an enormous hole. Nice job by the offensive line. Unfortunately, got tripped up. Don't see that very often from Romir Elliott. This is a guy who very often, very rarely gets tripped up. He's low to the ground. Like I said, stands at 5'9" listed. I think maybe 5'6" or 5'7" is probably a little more of an accurate guess.
These two teams met last year, came down to the wire. One of the more thrilling games of the season for both of these teams. Trinity came away with a win. Here goes Elliott off the right side and stretched out nicely by that Shamrock defense.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of inside and outside zone tonight from this Warren Central team. It's kind of the bread and butter of this offense. It really fits Romir Elliott's game. When you have a small running back like that, zone a lot of times fits well with your scheme because that running back can kind of almost hide behind those offensive linemen, make it tough for the linebackers in the secondary to see where he's going to cut, identify the hole, make a quick cut, and burst in the open field before the defense knows what hit him.
It's a big line. They go 285, 265, 290, 260, and 260 across the front. Pocket is clean. Pass is incomplete. Trying to hit Latavius Goods. It's through his hands. Roman White on the coverage over there for the Shamrocks. Roman's brother Ryan had a great career at Vanderbilt. He played here at Trinity a few years back.
Yeah, you got to wonder about nerves, a game like this. I mean, these guys know they're on TV. I think, I've seen a few things early here, a drop pass, some missed tackles that make me think possibly some nerves. But I think these teams will settle down. They're both really good football teams and play good fundamental football.
Punt is blocked. Wells steps up and has it blocked. It's caught in midair, and this may be a touchdown for the Shamrocks. Jake Saylor.
And who else blocked it but Stephen Herron? He's been all over the field tonight, not only on defense but also special teams. Almost his second block of the night, almost blocked a field goal earlier, but gets in there and blocks that one. An outstanding play by Stephen Herron, showing up all over the field tonight.
The number 2 ranked player in the state of Kentucky, heading to Stanford at 6'4", 240 pounds. A 4-star player.
Well, you're seeing why he's showing up all over the field, using his athleticism. A great job by Bob Beatty, lining him up in different spots, finding a way to use his athleticism.
Point after is up, and it is good. Stephen Herron sets it up. Can't block him up front on special teams. Caught out of midair from Jake Saylor. Goes 27 yards, and it's 14-0 Shamrocks. Catholic lost their opener last week, snapped a 30-game winning streak. I think they've come out with a little chip on their shoulder. A couple of quick touchdowns. Here's the last one.
Yeah, we talked about Stephen Herron showing up in the run game and the pass game. We didn't talk about him showing up in special teams. You see his athleticism right there, a really special athlete, possibly projects the defensive end or outside linebacker position. You know, he really has a great blend of height and strength. Love the way he uses his hands. Use his hands right there to get his mitts on the football and turn it into 7 points for his squad.
He's a guy that can project as an outside backer as well at the next level.
Yeah, you're seeing these squib kicks early, and you know probably the reason is because you got David Bell standing back there. They do not want to kick to David Bell, so that's probably a big reason why the Trinity game plan has been to squib it to these up backs. Keep the ball out of David Bell's hands, which seems like a good strategy to me. Bell
has 1 catch for 30 yards tonight. Last week cramped up a little bit.
That happens. It happens to every football player. First game, get a little cramped. It's hard to simulate game speed. Don't expect to see it tonight.
His coach, Jason West, says he's like the Jerry Rice of high school football in terms of his work ethic and desire to be the best. His approach to practice, his approach to the game is exactly what you want as a coach.
Yeah, one of the things that impressed me most about David Bell on film is his blocking in space. You know, receivers notoriously hate blocking, right? They hate blocking. But this guy, you can tell he takes pride in it. Obviously, that's a big credit to the coaching staff and Jason West and his guys, but really does a nice job of sealing off the edge. And in fact, a lot of times they even use him in the screen game as a blocker because he does such a fantastic job blocking downfield.
Another clean pocket over the middle. Boy, George tried to force that one in there. Lucky it didn't get picked off.
Yeah, and I think Jaden George kind of feels Stephen Herron right here on the left side. He understands Stephen Herron's gotten some pressure on him, really gets another lick on him there. Don't underestimate the effect that has on a quarterback when you knock him around a little early, get him off his spot in the pocket. You know, especially when it's on his blind side. The rest of the game, he might be thinking about what's happening over there on his left side, particularly when he sees number 7 lined up over there.
4 straight incompletions for Jaden George. It is 3rd down. Trying to set up a little middle screen, and it is snuffed out of there by the Shamrocks. Nowhere to go for George. Stephen Herron getting some pressure on the quarterback, and it's 4th down.
Yeah, I like the strategy of running a screen and not having to block Herron. But the problem is Herron is so big and athletic. He gets back there so quickly, and then Jaden George can't throw it around him. He's such a big, athletic guy. He is absolutely wreaking havoc on special teams and defense side. He's really taking control of this football game early.
Nice job by number 15, Gunnar Maddox, for Trinity Catholic as well, reading that screen. This time they block Herron. Florence back to return it, bobbled it, and makes the catch right around the 33-yard line, a 32-yard punt. 14-0, Trinity Catholic out in front here in the opening quarter. Saturday, September 1st, college football is back on ABC. 6th-ranked Washington, 9th-ranked Auburn from Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Atlanta, 3:30 Eastern time. And then at 8 o'clock Eastern, Louisville takes on number 1 Alabama in the Camping World kickoff game from Orlando. As always, both those games are streaming live on the ESPN app. Alabama expected to win yet another national championship.
Yeah, had a little wrinkle here, had a direct snap to Jeremiah Smith, and we saw Jason Smith tell us about that earlier in the game.
Well, Louisville and Alabama, you see the numbers. How about 58 ESPN 300 players on Alabama's current roster? That is just crazy numbers. Louisville going to have their hands full. Breaking in a new quarterback. Taking on a team that has two of the best in Alabama. So Luke McGuire in at, or excuse me, that was Jets at quarterback, Luke McGuire at running back. That'll be a first down. Pickup of 11.
We talked about the 1-2 punch for Trinity. We've seen Jeremiah Smith early, but Luke McGuire, another really good football player. You know, Coach Beatty we asked him, we pressed him. We said, who's your guy in a go-to situation? He said, whoever has the hot hand. He really rides both of these guys pretty hard. Expect to see a bunch of carries for both of these guys tonight.
Luke's dad played here at Trinity. 12 carries, 33 yards, and a touchdown last weekend. Stays in the game at tailback. Judd's the junior quarterback under center. He'll roll right. Get it out to McGuire. Turns the corner, spins, and dropped it to 43-yard line. That's a gain of 8.
Yeah, you see both of these running backs are kind of the modern day design for running backs. You know, back in the day you had big bruisers. Now you have to be able to catch the football if you want to play running back with a lot of the offenses these high schools are running.
Left side handoff. That one goes to McGuire again, trying to drive for the first down. Needs to get it inside the 40, and I believe he does so. That'll be another first down after a gain of 3.
Coach Bob Beatty told us the bedrock of this team is the offensive line. You got 4 seniors, 3 returning starters, a ton of experience up front for the Shamrocks, and you see they're leaning on those guys heavily tonight. They're getting it done.
Coach Beatty told us in our meetings that coaches are like mechanics, and last week their engine broke. It was their job to get back here and fix the car. And to this point, it looks like they have fixed it and then some. Got some new tires on it as well.
Yeah, it's a well-oiled machine right now. You can see the offensive coordinator, Andrew Coverdale, calling really good plays. Has the Warren defense off balance tonight. You never know what's going to come. Already seen several different formations from Trinity's offense. Expect to see many more.
First down and 10. Warren Central had a great opening drive, but it stalled after a missed field goal, and since then it's been all Trinity Catholic. Judds is dropped back at the 31-yard line. Wade comes up to make the play. It's a loss of 3.
Yeah, great play right there by Wade in open space. I think Judds thought he was going to continue rolling, make a play. Had a guy who was coming open the end zone, but a great play right there by Wade, just to drag him down by the tip of his jersey. Got to use that length.
Four receiver look out of the shotgun formation on second down, and let's call it 13. They'll go handoff to McGuire. He is wrapped up, dropped it to 30.
And that's the difficulty of preparing against Trinity. About 3 snaps ago, you saw a snap where they had 3 tight ends on the field. Now they line up with 4 wide receivers. These guys line up in all different types of formations. Tough to prepare for at this level.
Judds running out of time, will throw on the run down the sideline. Pass is caught. Was he inbounds for the touchdown? Yes, he was. Ryan Miller, 30 yards.
Absolutely incredible play right there by Seth Judds. To be honest, it might have been an ill-advised throw. Kind of threw it up, but he let his guy make a play, and Ryan Miller did just that. Made an outstanding play, finding the football, staying in bounds, and finding a way to score a touchdown. That might be a SportsCenter top 10 play right there. That was an excellent play.
The team's leading returning wide receiver had 38 grabs a year ago. One after is up and good And a 35-yard touchdown reception last week.
Yeah, a play like this, if you're a coach, you're saying, no, 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 no. And then all of a sudden you're saying, yes, 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 because outstanding job right there by Ryan Miller, keeping his feet in bounds. You see Jutz flushed out of the pocket, sees this guy, and hey, you got to give him credit. He gave his guy a chance to make a play, and he made a play, and he got 7 more on the board. Trinity so far has been extremely impressive to me offensively. The different looks and formations, really executing out here. We talked to Coach Bob Beatty. He said whichever team executes better will win the football game, and so far that's Trinity.
You know, we went back and looked at that last replay. Great shot by our crew down there, and it looked as though Ryan Miller's right foot was out of bounds around the 1-yard line. Watch his right foot come down. Boom. Ooh. Of course, no replay in high school football, but they would have spotted it close to the goal line, but nonetheless, it is a touchdown for Ryan Miller and the Shamrocks.
You know, sometimes it's kind of nice not having a bunch of replays in a game, you know. I like the pureness of high school. You're going to have some errors by the referees. All of them have day jobs, but you know what? It normally evens out in the end.
Who saw this coming? Trinity up 21-0. Under a minute to go in the first quarter. Already 147 yards of offense for the Shamrocks. Another squib kick. Again, trying to keep it away from Bell on the back line. This one's picked up by Wells, who's still on his feet. Breaks another tackle into Shamrock territory. What a return by Wells.
Oh, not very often you see a guy fumble, almost lose the football, and then almost score a touchdown. You know, outstanding presence of mind. I'm sure he'll get a talking to on the sideline about ball security, but a great awareness to pick the ball up and not even fall on it, but get upfield and get some extra yards. And that's the kind of play Warren's going to need if they want to stay in this game. They got to do something here offensively. Look for them to get the ball into David Bell's hands right here in this drive.
Bell on the top of your screen. Wearing number 4 for Warren Central. Little bobbled snap, toss sweep. Ramir Elliott trying to bounce it to the outside, and he will take it down to the 32-yard line. It's a gain of 8, set up second down and short.
Yeah, really nice block there by David Bell. We talked about in the open the job he does blocking, but great patience right there by Ramir Elliott. That's the thing Jason West highlighted about his running back was his patience. He's an extremely patient runner, can stand behind his line and wait for his hole to open. A nice job there for a good first down gain.
20 D1 offers for David Bell. First offer came from Indiana when he was a high school freshman. Trying to set up Elliott. And he is dropped around the 27-yard line. And that'll be the last play of the first quarter, a gain of 5.
4.6. David Bell, the dribble, gets off the shot at the buzzer.
Does it get any better than that? That was last basketball season in the state semifinals in Indiana, and David Bell hit the game winner. Eventually, Warren Central would go on to win the state championship. They went 32-0. Averaged double figures for that team, and says he loves basketball. Matter of fact, only missed 2 games last year. That's how much he loved it. He was doing double duty and expects to be back again. But this is a guy that's got so much talent. He's just a great athlete.
He is. We talked about his athleticism. You see it right there in basketball. He really is a guy that could probably play any sport if you lined him up.
George running left, throwing right. Perhaps the toughest pass for any quarterback to make. Trying to find Montrez Stanley.
Jaden George has struggled a little bit early in this game. Again, you wonder if that's because of big number 7, Stephen Herron, the way he's been in the backfield all night. I'm telling you, there's something about a quarterback getting in a rhythm early, especially a kid this young, being able to set his feet, get in a rhythm. You see Warren Central now is trying to move the pocket, do things to disrupt that pass rush because of how effective it was early in this football game.
Aaron matched up with Britt on that left side of the offensive line. They'll run that way. Here is Elliott, and he'll get it down to the 22-yard line. Jacob Dingle with the tackle. Gain of 4.5, maybe 5.
Yeah, we talked a lot about David Bell, you know, as a blocker. And you're going to see it right here. They're running sweeps at him. Not only does he get a nice block right there on the edge, but watch this finish right here. I love that finish. From a wide receiver, are you kidding me? You don't see a finish like that much from a wide receiver. Great effort by David Bell. 39
rushing yards for Elliott as George throws incomplete. Boy, just great coverage. There hadn't been many wide open, white jerseys anywhere.
No, there hadn't been. This is decision time right here for Warren Central, but I'm not even sure how much of a decision it is on 4th and 6. You got to keep your offense on the field. This is a pivotal play early in this football game. Got to find a way to pick up 6 yards here. Go to your playmakers.
George now 3 out of 11 for 46 yards. So 4th down and 6. Over the middle, pass is caught. That'll be a touchdown. Latavius Goods from 22 yards out, and the Warriors are on the board.
And what a huge play right there by Jaden George in this Warren Central offense. I think looks like he knows exactly where he's going with the football. Puts it right on the 6 right there for Latavius Goods. Latavius Goods is a good player in his own right. You see he's a senior. He's the guy opposite of David Bell. So he'll see a lot of single coverage this year. Does a great job right there capitalizing, turn it into 6.
On 4th down, the Warriors decide to go for it. And it pays big. Latavius Goods stepping up. 21-7 our score. Geico ESPN High School Football Kickoff as part of Summer of Next, presented by Geico here at Marshall Stadium. Trinity High School in Louisville, Kentucky. 21-7, the home team out in front of Warren Central from Indiana. And Warren Central, #1 ranked 6A team in the state of Indiana, won their opener 27-15 over Center Grove. They've won 8 state championships, their last coming in 2013. That was the first year for head coach Jason West, who's a very humble but certainly outstanding head coach. Enjoyed spending some time with him on the phone this week. That'll be a touchback. Warren Central, located in Warren Township on the east side of Indianapolis. 3,700 students. I feel like this is the team that can get them state title #9.
Well, they did a nice job right there offensively, finding a way to score a touchdown, coming up with a big 4th down conversion. But the big problem for Warren Central so far has been defensively. They have not had any answer for Trinity's offense.
Handoff goes to Luke McGuire. He is stuffed, might have lost a yard. Actually, they'll spot his forward progress. Just a touch over the 20, so give him a half yard. Minor coming up to make the hit for the Warriors. See if that touchdown doesn't give the defense a little bit of momentum.
And that happens sometimes. I tell you, when your offense finally gets it going. Again, a lot of nerves probably. These kids being on TV for the first time. But once you kind of get to the game, you settle down. You remember it's just football like any other game. And you go out there and execute.
Oh, nowhere to run for McGuire. He is swallowed up and loses 5.
And you said it, you can feel a different kind of energy right now on the field for these Warren Central Warriors. A great job right there on those first 2 run plays. Kevin Powell coming in there and putting a big lick.
So now a dangerous situation here on 3rd down and 13, backed up inside your 20. Judge, little throwback. Again, nowhere to run, and who makes the play but Malik Mile. He wraps up McGuire, another loss. This one, again, of 5 yards.
And don't underestimate the power of Uncle Mo, particularly in high school games. Momentum plays a huge factor. All the momentum right now with Warren Central. They're about to get the football back. They are flying around out here. Malik Mile right there making a great play, reading his keys, not getting distracted by the action in the backfield, staying on his guy and making a great tackle.
Kalen Rakulia will punt it away. David Bell back to return this punt. Bobbled snap. And that one will be off the side of the foot and into the seats. See where they end up spotting it, right at the 30-yard line. A 17-yard punt.
Yeah, that's what they call a dead shank right there. As you see the energy right there from Warren Central, and their fans are getting fired up. They're getting this. You hear on the stands, everyone's actually pounding their feet. There's a lot of energy on these sidelines right now. But right when something like that happens, when you have a special teams play that goes your way, you get the ball in good field position, you got to find a way to capitalize. Got the ball on the 30-yard line right here. Get the ball in your playmaker's hands and find a way to punch in the end zone.
.22-yard touchdown reception on their last possession on a 4th down call. Now they set up at the 30-yard line. George out of that shotgun. Pressure comes, and he is dropped by Herron. Loose football. Who has it? I think the Warriors fell on top of it, but a loss of 6 on the play, and Stephen Herron came flying in from the far side.
And we talked about Stephen Herron having his matchup with Justin Britt, and I just got to tell you, so far Stephen Herron dominating that matchup. A great move right there, using his hands by Stephen Herron. I talked to Coach Jason West before the game, and he told me he saw Stephen Herron at a camp this summer, and he told him, he said, you know what, y'all got the best of me last year. This year I'm going to come and I'm going to play good against you guys. So far he is making his presence known, and you see why he is the 171st player in the country. He might move up a little bit in the rankings by the performance he's putting on tonight.
Looking to become 3-time first-team All-State performer. He shakes free again. Loose football. Miles Dickerson came in at quarterback, and he lost it on his first snap of the game. The Warriors fall on it, but another loss of 3, and now it's 3rd down and a long way.
Yeah, we talked about momentum being a huge part of this game. A great job by this Trinity defense right here, coming back and seizing the momentum, and who else but Stephen Herron, forcing fumbles on back-to-back plays. He is absolutely dominating the game from his defensive end position. Unblockable right now with one player. I would look for Warren Central to make adjustments. You saw it early, putting a tight end on him, moving the pocket, those kind of things. Right now, this guy is untouchable.
4-star recruits, 17 D1 offers, including Bama, Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, but he has settled on Stanford. George back in the game, over the middle to Bell. He's got running room. Bell turns the corner to the 5. Touchdown! Our stars have come to play.
A great play design right here by Warren Central. A little middle screen almost with wide receivers and running backs blocking. And we talked about it in the open. You got to find a way to get the ball into David Bell's hand. Talk about an athletic play. Skirting right there, down there by the sidelines, make a nice spin move to turn a big gain into a touchdown. This guy is a great athlete. You got to find the way to put the ball into David Bell's hands. Already 2 catches for 58 yards and a touchdown. Our impact players tonight, Dave, are absolutely shining.
They're making an impact. Oh, Herron making some outstanding plays on the defensive side of the ball, but he was one up by this guy, David Bell. He is uncommitted. His final 5 teams all out of the Big Ten, and you know they're all looking at number 4.
celebrating 50 years of artistry at the
David Bell says he likes to emulate A.J. Green. Not a bad guy to put up on that mantle. Somebody you want to be just like. Well, this last play looked a little bit like A.J. Green.
It absolutely did. You know, here's a play right here. An interesting play. A wide receiver screen to David Bell all the way. This is actually a play that Peyton Manning kind of invented when he played for the Broncos. They like to get the ball in Demaryius Thomas's hands underneath. They did the same thing right there to David Bell. It was a one-man show right there, a one-man route. Everybody else was actually blocking downfield. You know, it's a really tricky scheme right there. You're supposed to wait kind of until the receiver gets the ball in his hands. And they did a nice job right there setting it up for David Bell to get back in this football game.
Here's McGuire. He's out to the 25, 26-yard line. He is stopped there, so just like that, it's a 21-14 ball game. Just when it looked like Trinity was about to walk away with this one, Warren Central back in it in a hurry.
Yeah, and I think it looks like these Warren Central guys really have calmed their nerves. They're out here, they're playing football now. Their athletes are making plays. Let's see if this defense can continue to build on that momentum.
Seth Jutz at quarterback, the junior, in that pistol formation. He'll fake it to McGuire, rolls right, and well covered by Warren Central.
Yeah, great eye discipline right there by the Warren Central defense. You'll see a lot of play fakes, a lot of motions and shifts. They're trying to distract the eyes of the defense. That's always the strategy when you have all these motions and shifts and fakes. Good eye discipline. That's a big key to playing defense, is you got to know where your eyes are supposed to be. Warren Central seems like they figured out where they got their eyes.
Hand off to McGuire. Well, we haven't seen Jeremiah Smith very much lately. The first possession of the game for Trinity Catholic, had some nice runs. Of course, had a 66-yard little swing pass he caught for a touchdown. But it's been a lot of Luke McGuire here last few possessions.
Yeah, they told us they were committed to using two running backs a lot, and they were true to their word. It wouldn't shock me, though, if we see some more Jeremiah Smith possibly next possession.
Boy, Warren Central jumps off sides on a 3rd down and about 4. That should be good enough for the first down.
Prior to the snap, encroachment against the defense. The result of the play is the first down.
Yeah, a huge penalty right there by Daron Wade. You can't do that, especially 3rd and short. You got all the momentum on your side. You got to stay disciplined. But a nice job right there by Seth Jutz, using the snap count to his advantage. Those Warren Central pass rushers were eager to get in the backfield.
McGuire off the right side, has a nice hole. He's to the 45. And his progress will be stopped right there. It's a gain of 7 or 8. This Trinity team, 0-1 to start the year, but let's not forget in 2003 they went 0-4. Ended up winning a state championship. They won 11 straight on the way to hoisting the trophy. That was the year that Brian Brom was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Reminds me of the Florida State Seminoles back in the day when they made a video with Deion Sanders, preseason #1. They did the Seminole rap.
Yep.
They go down to Miami to open the season on national TV, and they get beat 31-0.
That's right.
They ended up having a great year, but not the way you want to start it, with all the expectations. Here's McGuire off the right side.
Yeah, you see Trinity continuing to use tempo here. They're getting up to the line of scrimmage extremely quickly, using tempo to their advantage. They change their tempo very well. You'll see them huddle some plays, then you'll see them go really fast. You know, a lot of times when teams go that fast, you have one word, right? One word, the quarterback comes up, he shouts the word, maybe it's fire, 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 and that tells everybody on the field what the play is. That's a very common thing in football these days, to have a one-word play you can go to for speed purposes.
He'll dump it off underneath to Liam Gray. He is tripped up around the 36-yard line. That'll bring up a 3rd down. Call it 3rd and 2.5. Go McGuire. Left side, first down.
Another time on third down using tempo. That's been an extremely effective weapon tonight for the Shamrocks on third and short. Every time they get right up to the line. And the reason you see teams do that, they don't want to give Warren Central time to get their beef in there inside, right? They want to keep those same nickel guys on the field, not let them get a chance to get a blitz called, have a base defense, be able to pick up 2 or 3 yards for a first down.
Here goes McGuire. That'll be a gain of 3.
Yeah, and don't fail to notice who's over there at the left cornerback position, no other than David Bell, playing both ways tonight. Had an outstanding strip sack last week to help him win the football game. We talked to him up. I mean, again, this guy has some rare traits for a wide receiver. A good blocker, right? And also plays defense. And not only that, he's a good tackler. Really doesn't mind mixing it up a little bit. I love the physicality this guy brings to the football game.
McGuire going to the wide side of the field, and he is dropped inside the 25 to 24. That's a gain of 4. It'll be third down and about 4. Boy, this has been all McGuire. He hadn't come off the field this drive. He's trying to catch his breath. See what they do here. Quickly to the line. They'll go McGuire again. He'll have the first down. Inside the 20 down to the 16-yard line. That's a gain of 8. McGuire.
They're running him ragged.
Oh my goodness.
A nice block right there by the right guard, Adam Cash. You see that a lot in high school. You see, you know, running backs, there's not as much substituting usually in high school, even though now McGuire does come off the field to get a little bit of a breather, a well-deserved breather. Get that guy some water.
Carter Martin will check into tailback now. Warren Central wants a timeout. Trinity Catholic driving. They lead it by 7. We'll step aside.
So you just walk around telling people Geico could help them save money on car insurance?
Yeah, that and homeowners, renters, motorcycle and boat insurance.
Huh. That's nice. What happens when you catch a fish?
Luke McGuire has been the workhorse this drive. He has done everything asked of him. And just left the game a moment ago just because he was out of breath.
Yeah, he's been a one-man show on this drive right here. Really a good versatile running back. He's done it through catching the ball and through running the ball this drive. A nice job. You know, he seems well suited for kind of those outside runs. You see when he gets in the game, they like to run it outside the tackles. He's got great speed and nice vision.
Couple of tight ends. Oh, they're looking for Jeremiah Smith, who had the 66-yard touchdown reception in the first quarter. It looks as though Jeremiah, as I look across the way, might have his pads off. We'll try to get a shot of that in a moment. For now, Carter Martin's at running back, but Jutz will throw it and hits Martin. He's knocked out of bounds around the 14-yard line, a gain of 2. Clock will stop. 2.5 minutes to go here before halftime.
Yeah, another big stand here for Warren Central. Got an opportunity to keep this a one-possession game before halftime. You got to find a way to keep them out of the end zone at least here. Keep your team within striking distance.
Three receivers near side. Handoff goes to McGuire. That's a gain of 3, so third down and 5 coming up. And there he is. That's not a good sign if you're a Trinity Catholic fan. Their senior running back. No shoulder pads.
He is getting some good grub in, though. Looks like he's taking down a good stadium dog. I think that's how you know you're done.
Little bootleg. Jutz will tuck it. Jutz inside the 5, down to about the 1-yard line. A 10-yard gain. It'll be first and goal for the Shamrocks.
Yeah, Jutz not known for his running ability, but a great job right here. Surveying the field. Nothing's open. Tucks it down. Gets a first down, and now they got the ball on the 1 yard line. I would look for Luke McGuire right here. It wouldn't surprise me if we see Luke McGuire finish off this great drive in the end zone.
McGuire and Martin in the game. Martin, the lead back. Here's McGuire trying to drive for the end zone. Does he get in? Touchdown. And now McGuire looks like he's grabbing a knee.
Well, you hate to see that right there, but a nice drive and a nice run right here by McGuire. A good cut. When you're on the goal line, you got to find a way to get north and south, gets behind his pads and finds a way to get in the end zone. Looks like he might have gotten twisted a little bit awkwardly there. You hope he's okay after that nice touchdown run.
Boy, already down Jeremiah Smith. That is not a good look.
Yep. Not putting a whole lot of weight on that right leg. I hope he's okay.
14 plays, 74 yards. A concerned Bob Beatty.
Most of those yards coming from Luke McGuire. It's a big loss if he can't come back into this football game.
6 rushes and a reception on that drive for McGuire. Trinity trying to make it a 2-touchdown game, and they do. With the point after, with 1:17 to go before halftime. Just power football from the 1 yard line, 1st and goal. Run a little power play to the left side, and McGuire with the touchdown.
Nice job right there by Luke McGuire, getting behind his pads, making a 1 cut. You know, coaches always say when you're on the goal line, 1 cut, that's all you get. You get 1 cut. So choose your cut wisely. There's never a need to juke behind the line of scrimmage, make 1 cut, get north and south, and run somebody over. You know, there's always going to be an extra guy on the goal line. The defense is going to have 11 guys in there. You're going to have to run somebody over to get in the end zone. That's what Luke McGuire did right there. Hopefully that's not his last play in this game. You hate to see him go out of the game. A big loss, as you mentioned, Dave, for Trinity in this game if he can't come back into this football game.
Well, a couple of things on that drive. First of all, great rebound by Trinity Catholic. All the momentum would switch to Warren Central after back-to-back touchdowns. And the other thing was Warren Central kind of shot themselves in the foot there. They had a 3rd down and about 4, jumped off sides to keep the drive alive way back around the 30-yard line.
That's the kind of things that drive coaches absolutely crazy. When you got 3rd and 4 and you jump off sides, you see Jeremiah Smith there on the sideline with his pads off. So it looks as if Trinity might be down Jeremiah Smith and Luke McGuire. Expect to see lots of number 26 Carter Martin here in the second half.
So in high school, you kick it off from the 40-yard line. If the ball crosses the goal line, it's an automatic touchback. Modest kick line drive, caught in the air. Nice catch in midair. Taken by Shanklin, who's still on his feet. Hunter Shanklin trying to get the edge. He's out to midfield and knocked out of bounds. Well spotted at the 49 of Trinity Catholic.
Another good play on special teams right there by Warren Central. Trinity dominated this game on special teams early, but now they've had 2 huge kickoff returns. The last one set up a touchdown, and especially looking at the clock right now, you got 1 minute and 7 seconds left in this half, and now you got the ball at the 50-yard line, which is plenty of time for this offense, particularly with the rules of high school. Clock will stop on the first downs. And David Bell, as we know, as we've seen, can score from anywhere on the field in a hurry.
Pass is caught, broken tackle by DeMarcus Brown, and he's out of bounds around the 37-yard line. That's a pickup of 13.
That's where Warren Central's had the most success tonight, has been in the underneath routes. They haven't had a great deal of success pushing the ball down the field, but Jaden George is finding a little bit of rhythm, throwing the ball underneath and letting his receivers do the work with their legs.
Underneath, Elliott.
Oh.
Tried to stay on his feet, picks up a couple of extra yards, gets it inside the 20. That's a 20-yard pickup.
Outstanding job. We talked about Romir Elliott. You get a taste right there of why this kid's so special. Really can do it in the passing game as well. Almost breaks free right here and finds a way to take that one in the end zone. Hurdles over a defender. Almost skinnies out of that tackle for a touchdown. We see another Trinity player down on the field.
That's Jacob Dingle on the field. Jacob, the senior, who's committed to Cincinnati. He had offers from.
Always trying to find a guy, a quarterback down there in Baton Rouge.
Jaden George in shotgun formation. George, 8 of 16, 144 yards and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Here's Elliott, needs a couple of blocks, cuts it back, touchdown, Warriors. Boy, did he get some nice blocking on the outside, 11 yards out, and the Warriors scoring with 26 seconds left before halftime.
Another nice play design here by Warren Central. Jaden George does a nice job looking the defenders off and dumping it down to a little screen play on the right side. A great job by the right tackle, Jake Wellman, getting out in front of Romir Elliott. All you need is really to get those guys started. That's the goal as an offensive lineman on a screen, is get them started. Get them past the first level and let them juke out the little guys by themselves. And Romir Elliott did just that. Great vision on that screen play.
Four plays, 50 yards.
Another look here at that screen pass. You see a great block there on the edge by Wellman, and who else but David Bell doing a great job. Hey, see, they've run these plays at David Bell all night. And there's a reason for that. Look at it, taking his guy